Oh, yeah, look at all those horrible meat eaters.
So I'll give two examples. So one is that people eat too much meat.
Who determined that? As of course, right now, there's a meat tick going around where about 500,000 Americans are already affected. One has died that bites you and makes you allergic to meat. But it must all just be one big coincidence, as I wanted to dedicate this video to talk about the infamous meat tick that is absolutely on a tear on the east coast of America and is absolutely terrifying, spreading the alpha-gal syndrome, which I believe is connected to the World Economic Forum, Bill Gates, and probably Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, as he's working on some interesting eugenics operations as well. As we have to understand here, there's a lot of self-interested individuals that profit off of you not being able to, of course, sustain yourself with nutrients. If we look at what's happening in our kind of life with our food, it is being heavily processed. It is becoming faker by the day as illnesses and sicknesses keep being on the rise here as we keep moving away from a holistic traditional diet that we used to have before. And now we're wondering, hey, don't worry. The people who believe that there's too many plebs around in the world have a perfect solution for you. What is it? I think this is a conspiracy. I think Lyme disease was a conspiracy. We're going to go over that as well as all the other stuff that I think is critically important to discuss right now here on this independent media broadcast. And if you appreciate that, subscribe. Click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, the video that we played in the beginning of this broadcast, we're going to play it throughout the duration of it because that was World Economic Forum bioethicist Dr. Matthew Lau, who came out and says, we have to stop people from eating so much meat. We have to stop that. As, of course, he's an NYU biotechist. And he's saying we have to implement this for climate. As, of course, if we remember, in 2020 and 2021, all of the climate change rules and regulations that a lot of globalists wanted to implement in order to help save the planet was implemented, all under the guise of, quote, stopping the spread, of helping grandma stay alive. All of it was a lie. All of it was propaganda. And a lot of it was pretty much done to test people, as the World Economic Forum even recently admitted during their last Davos meeting that it was a test run of compliance. Now, here's the full clip, so you guys see the full context of what he was saying here, specifically saying, oh no, too many people eat meat.
Right, and if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then they would, it would actually really help the planet.
By whose understanding? By whose understanding is you people being more unhealthy, right? If you look at meat, and again, it's all based on your DNA. Like, some people really love and thrive off fish. Eskimos really love and thrive off fish. You're going to tell an Eskimo not to eat fish, right? When you look at meat, it is a beautiful, succulent, amazing dish that I am extremely grateful for having the privilege of being able to eat, because there are predatory globalists out there that believe that there's too many people in this world and they want to lower that population, and our fertility markers are going down dramatically. Our food is becoming less nutritious. They have less minerals. That's why I created WeAreChange.shop. I'll tell you about that in a little bit here. But who decided, especially, you can make an argument against factory farming, but then, like, why don't we just do regenerative farming? Why don't we create a sustainable form of life on a local, decentralized level where people are able to create and make their own food and their recycle? You have cows there, they make fertilizer, right? You can feed that fertilizer to plants, the plants feed specific animals. A vegan meatless diet also has a lot of consequences where a lot of very small rodents and animals die, right? People are like, no, the vegan diet is ethical. What? You know how many small ferrets die? How many animals die procuring the vegan diet? Get out of here with this nonsense. It makes no sense at all.
But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah,
especially when you're just factory farming soybeans and corn. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with Monsanto soy and corn everywhere? Get out of here. Regenerative farming is the way, and you're a buffoon that is a dangerous person for civil society.
Some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will, they say.
it's not a weakness of will. It's like we know what's good for us, right? A lot of people are documenting, and again, based on your own preconditions, not for everybody. Some people have horrible gut issues when they only eat meat, but some people are talking about the carnivore diet healed all of my problems. I had so many problems in my life. I changed up to the carnivore diet, and all my changes happened where now I am healthy when previously I was sick. I was dealing with autoimmune. I was dealing with fog, and then I just started just to only eat meat. And again, it's a diet where you get rid of all the processed crap out of your system. Now, again, I think diets are also dependent on your age. They should be also dependent on your genetics. They should also be dependent on where you source it from. Because a lot of people are just saying, no, 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 no. If you only eat this one thing, this one time, you'll be great. And that's not the truth. The truth is health is more of a kind of individual one-on-one case.
Wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, but so here's.
It has all the B vitamins, selenium, and all these minerals that are absolutely key and crucial for your mind. That's why when you look at a lot of vegans, especially vegan women, their minds are just fried. Right, they're just like hyper emotional, hyperthyroidism. Their brains aren't just functioning; they're not working. Women already have lower creatine levels than most people, and it's like, yeah, sorry, but like this doesn't look too healthy. Anyway, before playing the rest of this clip and getting into more of the videos here regarding this big conspiracy unfolding here that's growing very rapidly, and you should be very careful to make sure you're not affected by it. Make sure you check out wearechange.shop. One of the best things you could do for your immune system is vitamin D. We have our Sun Force bundle that also combines it with magnesium glycinate. I like to take my Sun Force vitamin D with my breakfast with healthy fat. I take that first thing in the morning with my breakfast with the olive oil that comes in the capsule and K2. You need K2 and you need fat to activate that vitamin D3. Otherwise, you're not really consuming and actually doing damage to yourself. Magnesium has also been shown, along with zinc, but mainly magnesium has been shown to also help activate vitamin D. That's why we created the Sun Force bundle. You get 2 of them. You save 10% off of your purchase. You save a couple bucks here, and you get 2 amazing supplements available to you, as a lot of people are talking about. Hey, vitamin D, absolutely crucial. As people are saying, if everyone took 1,000 IEUs of vitamin D per 25 pounds of body weight, that there would not be a lot of patients. And there's a lot of correlation with people with low vitamin D numbers and then going to the hospital. A lot of very crazy vitamin D numbers when it comes to 2020 and 2021 when it comes to sicknesses and illnesses. People with very low vitamin D levels and comorbidities were, of course, obliterated. Magnesium glycinate, lots of people really love it. Lots of people feel refreshed. Lots of people get a really good sleep. They take it. I take it with my last meal of the night, and I try to push back that window as far as I can so my body has a lot of the time to digest, and I'm not digesting when I'm sleeping. I also don't drink a couple hours before I sleep. I don't eat a lot. I try to have a smaller meal, and then, of course, I push that window as far back as I can. I have usually my meal at 8, and then I usually go to sleep at like 2, right? And that's it. And I'm not going to get anything closer to that personally myself. That's just me. That's what works for me on a one-on-one individual basis. A lot of people are like, why are you up so late? I'm working very hard for you guys. Plus, I live in Miami where a lot of stuff just happens at night. So that's just my personal sleep schedule. I know other people have different circadian rhythms. I have mine. I should probably fix it, but whatever. So far, my sleep score's through the roof, and I'm doing really well. And the biggest change that has really allowed me to do that is my vitamin D. I was kind of like beating my head into the table, be like, why does it suck? And then my vitamin D levels were low. I started taking vitamin D. Boom! I feel great. I'm firing off on all cylinders, and I feel absolutely incredible. Now let's get back to this eugenist person that is just describing some of the worst ideas known for humanity.
Here's a thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant.
More and more people are becoming very intolerant. More and more people having lots of allergies. Lots of people connect that through procedures. What is that exactly correlated to? I don't know, but autoimmune issues, allergies through the roof. Lots of people say that's because of glycinate. Lots of people say that's because of the procedure schedule that actually now finally has been lowered. Who knows what exactly is causing that, but through the roof. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's something that we just kind of naturally regressed to symbiotically with nature. I don't believe that happened because people weren't dealing with this amount of allergies like we are now.
To crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can.
Yeah, we could do that. As that tick is growing rapidly, affecting a lot of people. People who don't even know they're affected. That's some weird
kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering. Another.
Yeah, we'll just engineer people to be allergic to meat. What? This is just wild. As of course, one bite from this tick literally makes you not be able to eat meat, right? Why? Well, guess who's heavily invested in the fake meat industry? Bill Gates. Guess who thinks there's too many people in this world? Bill Gates. Guess who's also working on GMO mosquitoes and releasing them to the general public? Bill Gates. Guess which larger organization that Bill Gates is connected to that's also talking about forcefully medicating people through mosquitoes? Bill Gates. And then there's also the idea of smart dust. But let's just finish off on this particular topic so we fully understand it. As of course, you could be in nature. You get bit by a tick and you get allergic to meat. That is my worst nightmare. It's growing fast. Academia says letting it spread might be morally good. Where did it come from in the first place? As it probably came from one of these kind of sociopathic GMO laboratories. I think Lyme disease also came from a bioweapon lab facility. As of course, this is eco-eugenics. This is real. This is dangerous. As Alex Jones came out and said the World Economic Forum said that they would do it, and now they have. As he retweets, a tick that makes you allergic to meat is spreading. A single bite can reprogram your immune system. How great! How awesome is that? It's not. It's absolutely awful and horrible. Here's Alex talking about it himself.
Now a group of scientists and bioethicists, funded in part by Bill Gates, is
probably funded by Epstein too. I believe who was also a eugenicist, by the way.
Writing papers saying, let's do it. Now remember, when they start telling you, let's do it, it means they're doing it. And I know so many people across the United States, places like Minnesota, places like Nebraska.
This is so sick and sinister because I love nature walks. Me and Alex Jones did a nature walk in Austin. And it's like we can't even be in nature anymore because we got to worry about bioweapon ticks that make us allergic to meat and reprogram our immune systems to be more environmentally friendly. Get the hell out of here. By being a soy boy, sucking on fake meat and corn and cancer cells. By the way, look at where they get their fake meat, by the way. It's from tumors that couldn't stop growing. They just genetically rewired it to now nonstop grow meat when they were previously just nonstop growing tumors. They got it from one black lady. That's where all of this come from.
Where this tick wasn't even a few years ago. That actually work around cows, and suddenly they can't eat beef and get violently sick if they eat it. So when the scientist says, oh, you'll eat a little less meat, no, you won't be able to. Alpha-gal syndrome, and that's just part of this. So this is already going on, just like Lyme's came out of Plum Island on record.
RFK Jr. Talked about that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit as well.
That's killed millions and debilitated tens of millions. Invasive ticks have scientists spooked about new diseases. We don't know why all these new ticks that were already in the U.S., they just don't know why they're showing up 2,000 miles away from where they've ever been. They go, oh, it's climate change. No, they're dumping them out, and it turns out they're studying these ticks at research facilities where they're not even local, and Bill Gates is funding it.
Oh, not a surprise here. As of course, I did a video about this by Science How, right? And they tell you about how now the CDC estimates that nearly 500,000 people in the United States might have developed this life-threatening allergy since 2010. Again, this is a new tick. This came out in the early 2000s. Many people don't even realize that they have this illness. They just get a little sicker when they eat meat. Some people get violently sick. And then this doofus at the end, it's like, why is it spreading? It's climate. It's hot. It's because it's hot. Look, it's just so hot, and because it's hot, we have meat-eating ticks that make you allergic to meat. As the globalists are literally bragging about making you allergic to meat.
And that's not a far stretch to releasing them, because the scientists are saying we don't know how that moved 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles in a year.
If you're one of these people that are Bill Gates and you want people to stop eating meat and you want them to buy your fake meat, because that's what you're going to do. Like I want I can't get the real thing. I might as well get the fake thing, right? Because that's what our human life, our lineage, our DNA, our genetics are kind of pre-wired and destined to eat. We're all like little tribal cavemen deep down inside when we look at our biology. And then the globalists kind of exploit that through, of course, PR marketing as a way to have us be with sports ball. Now they're degrading the mind of the women that are more subconsciously aligned with groupthink, and then they make the groupthink just absolutely insane, and then the women are insane. It's like, oh, I guess people aren't having kids. As of course, predominantly this is an attack against people who will resist their kind of enslavement of you. But my golly gracious, this is such an important issue to talk about.
Fire ants got here in the 50s on a load of lumber that came into New Orleans from Brazil. They're an aquatic ant, live by the water, horrible, you know they are. They kill the rest of the ants and everything else. And it took them 50, 60 years to spread across half the country. But ticks that magically have diseases that have never been seen before and aren't in those geographic areas. So A, they've got these new diseases, they don't know where they came from, and B, they're moving thousands of miles sometimes in a year. Newsflash, you don't drop a few ticks out and suddenly they're all over a state a year later. You got to dump them out.
Exactly. And it makes sense. And I think the people involved in this should be thoroughly investigated. The fact that we don't know much about this and they're just kind of showing up all randomly in all of these random places shows that this is a coordinated effort to make people allergic to meat.
Well, it turns out in the 60s and 70s, the CIA did this in Vietnam and Latin American countries to destroy their crops.
Yep.
With different insects.
Yep. It's a form of warfare that's being instituted and implemented in many kind of deceptive ways. Now, a lot of people describe this as fourth and fifth forms of generational warfare. What better way to eugenicize? What better way to get rid of people than get rid of their
Gates is funding
their number one form of sustenance? And that's why Bill Gates, who is a good old buddy of Epstein, is one of the biggest proponents of fake meat, right? He has invested in several companies, including Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, Upside Foods, and has been a major prominent advocate of plant-based, lab-grown meat from human cancer cells, or soy sometimes, promoting them as solutions to reduce greenhouse gases. Just buy my product and the environment will do well, says the guy literally blocking out the sun. And then people are making the argument, we got to protect this guy. What? Are you kidding me? You're insane. As he has publicly came out and said all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef. Why? Because of climate. Climate is just an excuse for the rich to harbor up more of their money. Gates believes that fake meat products will eventually be very good and competitively priced. Through the acknowledges that their current market price share is small. He emphasizes that for widespread adoption, alternative meats must become as cheap as convenient meats. A key requirement for global climate change. And again, why meat again helps so many people. You're able to enslave a population when they're able to be weak, docile, and not be able to resist your tyranny on them. And what better way to make fake little pathetic little whiny slaves with limp wrists than by biologically targeting them. Now, obviously, huge financial interest, right? And it's all about, we got to reduce the emissions. And the way to do that is we got to reduce people. As, of course, he's one of the biggest farmland owners in the world, which is just absolutely crazy in the United States, right? He's cornering the food market, the food supply, in order to control more and more of it. And of course, what does he grow? Of course, a lot of the kind of ties to Monsanto. Of course, he was one of the biggest proponents, the biggest pushers, the biggest investors at Monsanto GMO crops here. It's like all fake and genetic. As now, we're also finding out that with this tick spreading everywhere, this has caused a New Jersey man to die. This is the first known case of someone dying. This was reported a few weeks ago.
This morning, a New Jersey man is the first known person to die after a tick bite triggered a severe meat allergy.
He didn't know he had it. Most people don't know that they have this like meat allergy until it's too late. And then when it's too late, they have meat and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have gone to that Brazilian steakhouse.
This is really something that, people should be aware of and physicians should be aware of.
The 47-year-old went camping with his family in 2024 and got violently ill after eating a steak. He recovered, but 2 weeks later, he ate a hamburger and again got very sick, then died.
With this ability to synthesize
Yep, this biologist was eagerly happy about it. And then they just played the video here. Horrible news, as of course, this faith could be something that a lot of people will have to deal with. As of course, this is grim. This is the first death linked to a meat allergy spread by a tick that, to me, in my own personal opinion, is a biological weapon that is being knowingly spread all throughout the United States. And I love nature, and I love walking around, and I love being in fields. And this is just absolutely crazy. I mean, you die from eating a hamburger. I love hamburgers. Dead within hours. And he was bitten by the tick weeks before and then got this syndrome, an allergy to a sugar found in mammal meat. Now, some people are saying 500,000 people have it. Some people are saying millions have it, and they're just dealing with smaller symptoms. So far, there is not a cure for this. We have Luke Alexander on Twitter saying, this is 1,000% a bioweapon. I grew up covered in ticks every week, pretty much. Some days, hundreds of tiny ones all over our legs. Not once did anyone I know ever catch this disease. What a sick joke to invoke anti-meat immune response when ticks are found outside, aka hunting. Nothing's sacred anymore, as some people are even making the argument that the fake meat that you have to like make sure you don't eat, you could already be eating. Lots of our food heavily processed. If you look at the way that they make chicken nuggets with the pink goo in McDonald's, that doesn't look like it's real food. Lots of the food you're eating is synthetic. It is heavily processed. It's not even meat, and you think you are getting meat. As a lot of people are saying, you're already eating fake meat without realizing it. Especially if people are consuming nuggets or other meat alternatives as vegan or vegetarian. And it's not just Impossible Burgers, Beyond Meats, it's other burgers that appear real as Asian Chinese restaurant stores, sometimes grocery stores, sell highly realistic meat, but they're made out of gluten or jackfruit or soy. Soy's the big one, of course, here. Now, some of them are being labeled, but listen, we have to understand here, there's a bunch of that other stuff that's just being mixed in without you even knowing, right? And why would you, right? Why would you know? Why would you be told, hey, the meat you're eating is fake? Now, Mr. Beast has been caught working with Bill Gates, now also promoting fake meat. Yep. This is absolutely crazy. As the Bill Gates Foundation, linked with direct partnership of USAID, and now Mr. Beast and USAID are working together. In his latest video, Mr. Beast promoted fake meat. You can't make this stuff up. Here's another video giving you important context about all of this.
Gates is funding genetic modification of ticks. Gates is heavily invested in fake meat companies. And at the same exact time, a tick-borne disease that forces people to stop eating real meat is exploding across the United States. I don't know. What are the odds of something like that happening? Is it a coincidence?
Yeah, it's a total accident. Nothing to see here. And look, here's Mr. Beast.
Produce hundreds of thousands of pounds of chicken meat without killing a single chicken, which is
It's not chicken meat. It's literal cancer cells. They don't tell you about the cancer cells.
Incredible, because over 220 million chickens are killed every single day. In
Oh, those poor chickens. You got to eat the Bill Gates soy slop. That makes you a nice soy boy.
order to sustain demands for their meat. And Upside Foods has spent over $200 million in research
Through Bill Gates funding.
and development in order to create this technology.
It's not technology. It's fake meat here.
This morning.
Absolutely wild.
In the world we're
Wide. Now, again, Mike Pence is talking about this is like the Truman Show over here.
Now listen, I gotta tell you, I know a lot of people are like Mr. Beast stands, but I always knew something was up with this guy. I always knew it.
And then he talks about their partnership with the Rockefeller Foundation. No surprise there. Ties with the CIA. All, of course, linked together. Fastcompany.com wrote an article. The meat you eat is already fake. Worried about eating meat grown in a lab? Meat producers already use technology to transform every aspect of raising animals of food, including the animals themselves. Thanks to innovative plant-based meat brands like Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, gone are the days of cardboard-like vegan burgers. And with global partnership with fast food restaurants like Burger King and McDonald's, you think you're going there? You think you're eating real meat? You think you're eating real chickens? Their products are virtually everywhere. Sales might be slowing a bit, but the global plant-based market value is still projected to reach $93 billion. When you're eating that McDonald's meat burger, guess what? Not a lot of, lots of fillers and a lot of meat out there. Cell-cultured meat, real meat grown from bio-sized animal cells rather than slaughtered animals, still has a long way to go before being commercially viable. Some doubt that it will reach. But again, listen, if you're like McDonald's or Burger King and you got someone coming to you, be like, look, you don't have to grow meat. We could just literally do it for you. It'll be fake. No one will know the difference. We'll make it as similar as real food. We're going to just 3D plant it, and you guys are going to make a bunch of money. You think they're going to ask about the health effects? Be like, oh, what about the health effects? They're like, how much money we get? How much money we're going to save? What's the ROI? We're a big, brutal company that cares about our shareholders and our stock prices. How much money are we going to be? How much profit? There's no real animals at all, ever? Hell yeah. Bring that to me. Let's do it.
Becomes widespread, we could enjoy steak in the future without slaughtering a single cow.
Oh my goodness.
This steak was made entirely by a 3D printer. It looks like real steak, complete with fibers, and the
It does not look like real steak.
flavor and texture are surprisingly close. It's created
That probably was real steak. Or I don't know if it was fake, but
by growing real cow cells in a lab, then layering muscle and fat cells through a 3D
yeah, that looks pretty yummy.
printing process. If this technology becomes widespread, we could enjoy steak in the future without slaughtering a single cow. This steak
Now, a lot of people are saying, well, fake lab-grown meat is already in stores across the United States. This includes beef and salmon. Now, a lot of people are sharing this video. It's also important context that a lot of meat already is being mechanically tenderized. It's where they literally put blades and needles and pierce the meat to, quote, enhance its tenderness. And that's why a lot of the meat looks very weird. There's also a lot of, like, water being pumped into food, lots of meat also being cleaned with like chlorine, and then you start making your own food, and then you start hunting for your own food, and then it's like, oh yeah, look, all these ticks came out of nowhere that make you allergic to it. What? All funded and directed from a guy that believes that there's too many people in this world. In a 2010 TED Talk called Innovating to Zero, Gates discussed how population growth contributed to climate change and how we needed to significantly reduce that number. How do we reduce it? Through procedures. And he talked about we could reduce it by 10, 15, and again, the population already is declining, especially in the Western world, far more dramatically than a lot of scientists thought they would. If you remember, Bill Gates, Al Gore, and all these other people, John Kerry, were like screaming, the end will end! The world will end soon. It's gonna be so hot. Everything's gonna melt. Hasn't happened. There's too many people in this world. Well, the population is going down dramatically, dangerously, to end of world proportions. That should be the conversation. Now, I would bet Bill Gates probably got the idea for a lot of this nonsense, and the kind of mad scientists got a lot of these ideas with what happened with Lyme disease. As of course, a lot of people believe Lyme disease was rooted in a bioweapon program, right? Lyme disease bears its name from a Connecticut town, but a U.S. representative from New Jersey has questioned whether the disease has its origin in a government laboratory. The claim, experts say, is a conspiracy theory. Yeah, okay. According to roll call, U.S. Congressman Christopher Smith, a Republican from New Jersey, introduced an amendment on the House Defense Authorization Bill on July 11th, calling for the Pentagon Inspector General to investigate whether the Department of Defense experimented with ticks for potential use as weapons. They did, of biological warfare between 1950 and 1975. Smith's amendment was added to the final bill, which passed the next day by voice. In a news release, Smith says he drafted the amendment after reading a number of books and articles suggesting the significant research had been done at a U.S. government facility, including Fort Detrick, Maryland, and Plum Island, New York, to turn ticks and other insects into bioweapons. And the reports are that they were working on these ticks. There was deers on the island. The ticks got away. The ticks got in the deers. The deer swam away. RFK Jr. came out and said, Lyme disease, it's not a conspiracy. Senators who grilled RFK Jr. on his own controversial media claims following his nomination as U.S. Health Secretary has sparked renewed interest in the conspiracy theory that Lyme disease was manufactured out of a biological weapon. Agent Orange, like we were doing a whole bunch of crazy experiments. As you think there wasn't any sabotage of farmland against our number one chief rivals that we were fighting and actively involved in a hot and cold war with? Get out of here. As of course, a lot of people are saying that is still continuing to this day in places like Iran. But experts say evidence shows the disease has existed for tens of thousands of years. And again, who do you really believe here? Who knows, right? AFP here with the quote, fact check. RFK Jr. is correct about Lyme disease being created as a bioweapon in a lab on Plum Island, just off Connecticut coast, says a January 29, 2025 X-post from an account called, okay, who cares? And they're like, no way, this is not true. The government works on biological weapons programs, right? You can't deny it. You can't deny that they're doing that. You can't deny that they're taking animals and seeing, oh, we can make them as infectious and as deadly as possible. You're saying the U.S. government and the Pentagon never does that. You're saying there never was an accident, where there are like routine accidents, especially when it comes to the military, especially when it comes to just the general population. Accidents do happen. Biological weapons programs that have been normalized, especially after 2001 and the Patriot Act that allowed Dr. Fauci to work on bioweapons programs, are something that I think are of key issue and concern here. And you cannot expect the government to investigate itself and then to exonerate itself here. Now, there's other layers of scientific experimentation that I think we should also talk about here that are also extremely concerning, as of course, there's things like smart dust. This is Forbes. Imagine a world where wireless devices are as small as a grain of salt. These miniaturized devices have sensors, cameras, and communication mechanisms to transmit the data they collect back to a base in order to process. Today, you no longer have to imagine it. Micro-electromechanical systems, MEMS, often called MOTES, are real and very well could be coming to a neighborhood near you. Whether the fact exists or strikes fear in you is just good to know what it's all about. What can smart dust do? Collect data, including accelerate stress pressure, humidity, sounds, and more from sensors. Process the data from what amounts to an onboard computer system. Store the data in memory. Wireless communicate the data to a cloud or based of MEMS. And again, this is the type of stuff that they have out there that could be implanted into your head. Again, the CIA had heart attack guns all the way back many, many decades ago. It was really through the Church Commission. You think they don't have that stuff right now? You think they don't have stuff out there that could create gene-like specific bioweapon programs that have illicit effects on people? You think that doesn't exist? Right? You're crazy if you think they don't. Now, what is stopping these people from utilizing it and implementing it? That's the question. As of course, science gets more stranger by the day, especially when it comes to what has been clearly a huge negative detrimental effect to the general population. I talked about this before. This is an AP article. A Bill Gates-tied mosquito project is not responsible for U.S. malaria cases. Bill Gates released GMO mosquitoes to get rid of malaria. Malaria cases coincidentally went up. Huh? What a coincidence. Everyone's like, protect Bill Gates, protect Microsoft. I'm like, no. This is just wild. I've been speaking out against Bill Gates for so long. All of this is now finally coming out. I mean, the guy, according to Jeffrey Epstein, had an STD from a Russian lady of the night, and then he tried to drug his wife. That's what he does to his wife. Imagine what he does to the general public that he believes that there's too many people of. This is crazy. Rare malaria cases reported in Florida and Texas recently were caused by a disease-controlled initiative backed by Bill Gates that involves releasing genetically modified mosquitoes in the U.S. That's the claim that they're saying. And again, the AP, it's like, oh, no, that's false. Yeah, Bill Gates released a bunch of mosquitoes to stop malaria, and malaria grew, but yeah, he's totally innocent. Totally trustworthy guy, especially if you're his wife and you're getting breakfast from him magically out of nowhere. Oh, Bill Gates, you're making breakfast. That's weird. Why does this orange juice taste so weird? It's almost... What's in this? It tastes weird. Bill, what? Did you drug me? No, I never went. I wasn't friends with Epstein. All right. The factory that breeds 30 million mosquitoes per week. Here's why. As of course, these mosquitoes are here to fight dengue and other deadly diseases. Again, mosquitoes suck. He's doing this in places like Colombia where people could be bought off here. This is by Bill Gates. Gates News. We're breeding and making all these mosquitoes. So allegedly these mosquitoes are out there and they're supposed to somehow stop the population of the next, because they will breed with them and then not be able to be able to have offspring with the next mosquito there. Again, I'm sorry, we shouldn't trust Bill Gates here, who has been a known liar. Marshall Lab receives Gates grant for genetic-based malaria mosquito control. And then, of course, there was either conversations about using mosquitoes as a way to forcefully medicate people. What better way if people don't want to take a procedure that people are skeptical, that Bill Gates was telling you, you need to take this procedure, that I'm also heavily invested in, that I invested in a year before the 2020 coup came out. I was invested heavily in this. That allowed me to profit tremendously. Oh, here's an email with me and Jeffrey Epstein talking about pandemic preparedness. All the way back in 2016. What's strange. How did Epstein knew? How did they prepare for all this and invest in all the right companies right before I went out to the general public? And now they're talking about mosquitoes that medicate you. How convenient. You don't even need to go to CVS. Talk to a random person there. Or 7-Eleven. I think it was Casey Neistat that was like, yeah, I just went to 7-Eleven. I got jabbed. Gambongino. He was like, yeah, Fox News made me. I just did it. Ben Shapiro, take it, you dope. No, I'm okay. I'm fine. But now it's not just mosquitoes; it's smart dust that could infect you. We're living in an ever so weird, wild sci-fi world, man, and it's only going to get more wilder.
We're living in today. A forester had to change careers. He wrote about it online. He spent his whole life in the woods, loved it. Then he got alpha-gal syndrome. Now he's too afraid to go outside, too afraid of getting bitten again. The disease can cause worse with repeated exposure. So he gave up the work that he loved, the places he loved, because of a tick. That's what it does to people. It just doesn't make you sick, okay? It takes away parts of your life that you will never get back. But see, here's something else, something that genuinely disturbs me and should disturb you as well. And I almost don't bring this up because it sounds like something from like a dystopian novel. But it is real. And it was published in a peer-reviewed journal, guys. In January 2025, the Journal of Bioethics, You have two researchers, Parker Crutchfield and Blake Harris. They published a paper. The title is something academic and bland. But here's what they're arguing. Maybe we should let alpha-gal syndrome spread. Maybe we shouldn't try hard to stop it. They called it moral enhancement.
This should be a priority, and we should be doing everything in our power right now to stop it. And then criminally investigate all the people involved here promoting it. If you agree, share this video. Get it out there. Holy freaking cow. Take care of your health. Take care of your immune system. Vitamin D is one of the key ways to do that. I want to be here for you guys supporting independent media, and this is why I love you. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechannel.